Bad weekend for the San Diego Padres. I mean, they are now 6.5 back of the wild card of the National League to blow some of those games against the Phillies. Yuck. They are plus 475 this morning to make the playoffs at DraftKings. And I'm looking at the remaining. We can start to do this more, I think, in baseball.
8 back, my friend. 8.
Is it the wild card?
Yeah.
Oh, 8 back. Okay. I had him confused with another team. Okay, so my bad on that. It's exactly middle of the pack for remaining SOS for the Padres. It is the 15th easiest or hardest, depending on how you look at it, remaining schedule. They have 7 left against the Dodgers and the Giants. Okay, so no favors there. On the flip side, they have 6 against the Rockies, 6 against the Cardinals, 3 against the A's, the White Sox, the Pirates, and the Tigers.
They're neck and neck with the Mets here as most disappointing team. I mean, this is just you can't even point to easy series and say, okay, well, they're going to win that because the issues they had with the Nationals and the Royals.
Sure.
But that was just a killer to lose 3 out of 4 in Philadelphia, and you blew that game 1 of a doubleheader Saturday with the bullpen, and you blew it yesterday. So to lose 3 out of 4, and now you go to Toronto, who's hot, and it's just you're running out of time.
Yep.
I mean, you're 65, 70 games left. It's just this is who you are. And to be 6 games under 500, what an embarrassment. But Arizona would have to come all the way back because they're 8 behind Arizona. And certainly you'd think the Phillies are going to make it because the pitching so good and they're not even starting to hit yet that the Phillies will be one of the teams. But, who's going to fall back? San Francisco, someone's going to have to completely fall on their face for San Diego, number one, to get hot and come all the way back and make up 8 games in about 65 games.
Now, did you see what happened in the game on Saturday? It was one of their blowing leads against the Phillies because Blake Snell was on the mound.
Uh-huh.
He was good again. He was 5 innings.
Threw a lot of pitches, though. But
yeah, and he threw 26 pitches in his final inning. It was 82, I believe, was the pitch count. Bob Melvin pulled him, and after the game, he told reporters that he was cooked. Completely cooked after 82 pitches. Now, I get it. It's
Soto playing the ball like a hand grenade out there. God. That was terrible. Make the catch. That was a routine fly ball.
I know it's hot and humid everywhere, but, man, 82 pitches. Okay. Yeah. On the flip side now, the Diamondbacks, in the funk that they're in, same division, they're still plus money to miss the playoffs. Now, before the break, it was a lot higher because they're currently in this funk, but they are plus 105 at DraftKings to miss the playoffs. They have the 9th most difficult schedule remaining in baseball. They're facing 6 more against the Giants, 5 against the Dodgers. They have 3 each against the Braves, the Orioles, and the Astros. They played the Rangers in a 2-game set. And the easy side of the schedule, 7 against the Padres, the Cubs, 6 against the Rockies, 4 against the Mets.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe if you want to grab that plus money still available, I could see this team missing the playoffs.
Well, they've lost 8 of 10, and the 2 wins were Pittsburgh at home. You have to be concerned with Gallen away from home with his numbers on the road, which are bad. But again, it comes down to who's coming in there, though. Who's jumping them? Certainly Philly, but does Miami fall apart? And even though it didn't go well and the bats have been silent, you can make the case for Cincinnati to get a wild card if they can figure this out offensively, because they're right in the mix there as a wild card, only 2 back. So right. You have to think the Giants are a contender with how well they're playing. But then again, you look at you're going to get 3 wild cards here. And is it going to be Miami, Arizona, Cincinnati? Someone's going to get in there, though, because I'm ready to dismiss the Padres because 8 back. So Philly, yes, and then you're going to make a case for another team because I think Miami's going to fall apart.
Sure. The Reds are currently plus 240 to make it. Now, bad stretch here, bad weekend. I think the Brewers have won 8 out of 9 against them this year. But this is something that was never even in the conversation.
That's right.
A couple of weeks, like for a second team to make it from the National League Central.
Alive and well with those, though, with that thought.
But that is absolutely possible now, the way it's going. And both the Brewers and the Reds, for what it's worth, they both have relatively easy bottom 10 schedules remaining. So they're easy. But that is something that, again, looking right now, because of what's going on with Arizona, and I fully expect the Phillies to pass them and make the playoffs. And the Phillies to make right now are
$3.
Yeah, they're a huge favorite to make it right now, or a substantial favorite anyway. compared to these other teams. So I think it's going to be the Phillies. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Reds would actually hang around, linger. You said this earlier in the first hour of the show. You want the Orioles to make a move. So do I. I want the Reds to make a move.
They should.
I know you have all this young talent, but I brought this up a couple times, a few weeks back. Do it for Joey Votto. I mean, who knows how much time this guy has left? And they've been the best story in baseball this year, or the most, in my opinion, anyway, the most exciting.
Yeah, I mean, just see it's reflected in the odds what they think of Philadelphia, and that the Phillies are going to make it. Where do you have Miami? What's
SOS?
Yes,
5th hardest.
Ew.
Let's see here: 7 against Milwaukee, 6 against the Dodgers.
Doors open. I mean, the door's open though for the Reds.
Well, okay, and I know the Marlins are in a funk again themselves, but getting swept, in a 3-game set over the weekend. They are sending Luzardo to the mound today against the Cardinals, and I am surprised that the Marlins are underdogs in this game. And you can get plus money. Now, the numbers come down a little bit. At last check here, Luzardo was around plus 105. Now, Michaelis has not been awful, like if you go back to last month. But
they've lost 7 of his last 8 starts.
Yeah.
But they did the shutout win.
Luzardo, though, his last month, 32 and 2/3 innings, 40 Ks, a 1.14 ERA, and a 0.79 WHIP. If it wasn't for the guys ahead of him to win the National League Cy Young, I'd be sitting here saying, look at his numbers, but he's down to like 20-1 now. I can't bet that. Guy's been sensational and completely, for the most part, under the radar. And I am surprised where the betting number opened up on this game with the Cardinals. So I would look
I'm with
there.
You. I'm with you. Now, how about the American League? I mean, things have changed here. Now, a lot of these teams had good weekends, but are you set with Baltimore, Toronto, and Houston? I mean, do you think Boston and the Yankees have enough or make a move? I don't know what the Red Sox are going to do.
Neither do I.
If the Red Sox are going to go for this and say we're playing good ball, we're only 2 back. Come on, let's go for this. I'm concerned about what I've watched the last week or so with Houston, 2 weeks. But you have to respect the history and the champs, and they always make the ALCS. I think they're going to catch Texas, although Texas did a great job sweeping Cleveland. I mean, but so many things can happen in the American League where you think a talented team and a team with a lot of money that they spend on the payroll is going to miss the playoffs. Seattle has an easy schedule, but they just lost 2 out of 3 to Detroit. They're 500. They're only 5 back. But I just think I'm going to call it good with Baltimore, Toronto, and Houston, and rooting for Baltimore actually to win this division as Tampa has more losses now than Baltimore. 22 games over 500. That's a team that needs to make a move.
The Red Sox are actually, they're a good baseball team.
They can hit.
Yeah, absolutely they can. I don't mind Boston at all. I don't know if they'll make a move or not, but I think they're pretty good. And by the way, they actually might be dangerous if they make the playoffs. I'd like to sit here and tell you that plus 475 on the Mariners today looks great. Yeah. But they lost 2 out of 3 against the
bad job.
A terrible job.
It was Castillo too in one of them.
But they do have a relatively easy schedule, and coming up, by the way, it's like cupcakes galore.
Well, that's the thing with Houston. Houston's schedule's very easy. Baltimore, Toronto, Tampa, brutal schedule. Houston has it easy.
They have the 4th easiest left, the Astros, and they have 13. This will tell you they have 13 combined against the Rockies and the A's.
And Texas is in the low 20s. Texas fairly easy as well. So, again, 2 weeks, who's going to make some moves and improve their team? But the Baltimore could win the division. And maybe what happens, what does Tampa do as well? Because Tampa's had to deal with all these injuries. But as I said earlier, they're playing 500 ball here the last 30 games after that insane start they had to the season.
I kind of expect the Orioles to win the division now.
Wow.
Now, we've been talking about this for a good month, how difficult the schedule was. They've done a great job navigating.
They have, yes.
And guess what? The team right now with the single hardest schedule left as of today, the Tampa Bay Rays. So McClanahan to me is a little bit short today, that number, but also the guy's been hurt and as a result has not been good. I mean, he's only pitched 13 innings in the last month.
He was supposed to go Friday, right? And they got rained out.
Yes.
So this is kind of
correct.
Fun. So how many days off are we talking about here? This is lunacy.
That's the thing. He's only pitched 13 innings in the last month.
Guys, I'm going in fresh because it wasn't up when I went to bed. What's the Yankees price now? Because that's a horrible job by the Yankees, losing 2 out of 3. So I mentioned this stretch. They continue the road trip there in Anaheim tonight. Next week, 2 against the Mets, 3 at Baltimore. Then they play Tampa for 4. Then they play Houston, who's owned them. Oh, God. And not for nothing, then they go to Chicago and Miami. And the White Sox are no gimme either. So this is ugly for the Yankees.
Let's see here.
Can't hit. Maybe Judge is back at the end of the month.
They are even money to make.
But,
they're minus $1.20 to miss now.
Yeah, okay. No minus, yeah.
How about that game today, by the way? Severino against Canning. The total is, it opened up at 8 that I saw last night.
I don't get it. Severino's been so bad.
It's now 9, which makes more sense.
Yeah, should be plenty of runs tonight in that game.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.